Welcome to Vignana Taragatigalu at VSR YouTube channel. Before watching the video, please like and subscribe my channel. If you like this video, may reach more students.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack the code on one of the most fundamental forces in the entire universe, electromagnetism. It's this invisible, kind of magical link between electricity and magnetism that powers, well, pretty much everything around us. So let's get right into it. So let's start with something you see every single day. Fans, blenders, maybe even the electric car you drive. Have you ever really stopped to wonder what's happening inside that makes it spin? I mean, what's the secret that turns electricity into actual physical motion? Well, the answer is this incredible dance between electricity and an invisible force. Okay, so the secret sauce, the big idea, is actually super simple, but it's also profound. Whenever an electric current is flowing through a wire, it doesn't just sit there. It actually creates a magnetic field all around it. That one single principle, it's the foundation for literally everything else we're going to talk about. Right, so you can't see this field, so how in the world do you know which way it's going? Well, scientists came up with a really neat little trick called the right-hand thumb rule. It's a super simple way to visualize exactly what this invisible force is doing. Here's how it works, and you can do this right now. Just pretend you're grabbing the wire with your right hand. You just have to put your thumb in the same direction the electric current is flowing. Simple enough, right? All right, time to put it to the test. Seriously, try it yourself. If the current is flowing up, so your thumb is pointing up, which way do your fingers naturally want to curl around that imaginary wire? Give it a second. What do you think? And if you guessed anti-clockwise, you got it. The way your fingers curl around the wire, that's it. That's the direction of the magnetic field lines. It's an incredibly clever and, honestly, intuitive way to figure out what this invisible force is up to. So we know a single, straight wire creates a magnetic field. But, that field from one little wire is pretty weak. What if we need some real muscle? What if we need a stronger, more focused field? Well, that's where the shape of the wire becomes a total game changer. And that brings us to this thing called a solenoid. All it is really is a long coil of wire. Just think of it like a slinky, but made out of copper. This simple little change in geometry? Oh yeah, it has a massive effect. So here's the genius of it. You start with that one wire and its tiny magnetic field, but then you coil it up again and again and again. See, each one of those loops creates its own little field, but when they're all packed together, they team up. They reinforce each other and bam, you get one super strong, unified magnetic field right down the middle of the coil. And what you get is this really special kind of magnet. On the inside, the field is incredibly strong and perfectly uniform. All the field lines are running in these beautiful parallel straight lines. That uniformity is absolutely crucial for high-tech stuff like MRI machines. And on the ends, it acts just like a regular bar magnet, with a clear north and a south pole. Okay, so we've built a powerful magnet out of a wire. Awesome. But what's the point? Well, the point is to make stuff move. This is where we get to the heart of every single electric motor, turning that invisible field into real physical force. So, this leads to a really important question. We know our wire with current creates its own magnetic field, but what happens if you take that wire and you stick it inside the field of another magnet? And to figure that out, we've got another handy trick up our sleeve, Fleming's left-hand rule. This is the rule that lets us predict which way that wire is going to get pushed. This is the secret to making things spin. So let's take a look at this setup right here. We've got our wire, that conductor labeled AB, and this current flowing through it. And we've placed it right in between the north and south poles of a big horseshoe magnet. Now, if we use that rule we just talked about, Fleming's left-hand rule, to this exact situation, we can figure out what's going to happen. With the magnetic field going from north to south and the current flowing a certain way, the wire gets pushed. It actually moves. This isn't just theory. This is the motor effect in action. It's the fundamental principle that drives pretty much every electric motor on the planet. Okay, so we've seen how to create powerful forces with electricity, which is amazing. But all this power, we've got to handle it safely, right? Especially in our own homes. And this brings us to a critical, life-saving piece of the puzzle. I want you to think about your toaster or your refrigerator, appliances with metal cases. What happens if a live wire inside gets loose and accidentally touches that metal casing? Suddenly the whole appliance is live. So how do we stop ourselves from getting a massive, dangerous shock? Okay,
Look at the two scenarios here. On the left, no earth wire. You touch that faulty appliance, and the electricity has only one way to get to the ground, straight through you. That's a bad day. Now check out the right side. With the earth wire, that leaking current gets a much easier path to follow, and it completely bypasses.
So why is it so effective? Well, first off, electricity is kind of lazy. It always wants to take the path of least resistance. And that copper earth wire is a super low resistance highway straight to the ground. It ensures that any dangerous current is safely channeled away, keeping you out of the circuit entirely. So a great way to think about it is this. That little earth wire is basically an emergency exit for electricity. It's a simple, brilliant safety feature that's just sitting there, always on guard, to make sure you stay safe. So think about the journey we just took. We went from a simple little hand rule to visualize an invisible force, to using that to build a powerful magnet, to seeing how that magnet creates motion, and finally, to how one simple wire can literally save your life. It's just amazing how these principles build on each other. And all of this leaves us with one last big question. We've spent all this time seeing how electricity can create a magnetic field, but does it work the other way around? Can you take a magnet and use it to create electricity? Well, that's a story for another day. Thanks for sticking with me on this one.